Welcome back. It's our Summer Friday edition of the show. We are at the Food Network's kitchen right here in New York with friends of the program and a fantastic chef with a special dinner dish for us. We will enjoy some of that very soon. But first, tonight, Donald Trump is escalating his fight with the state of California. Sources tell CNN that the administration is considering large-scale federal funding cuts for the state. Agencies are being told to start identifying what should go. Among the moves being considered, fully canceling federal grants and funding for the University of California and the California State University systems. Earlier this week, California was warned of fines after a trans high school athlete competed and won in a championship. Last month, the administration slashed over $120 million in flood prevention funding projects. And earlier this year, Trump threatened California for its handling of devastating wildfires. Sometimes, all the time with Trump, it is hard to distinguish what is the personal vendetta against a state and perhaps its governor from the issues that they write in the press releases. And I think this is one of those times because the potential consequences to wide swaths of the American population seem to far outweigh what is being talked about, the issues, the specific issues they're talking about in here.
Well, I think they have good reason to go to war with California because they've done terrible things. The university system there, maybe worse than any other system in the country, terrorized Jewish kids, allowing for Jew exclusion zones on campus and refused to take responsibility for it. That's number one. They're violating the president's executive order and the administration's views on Title IX regarding boys playing girls' sports. And I'll give you a third one that's breaking tonight. The mayor of Los Angeles is saying she's not going to cooperate with the Department of Homeland Security and ICE as they try to round up illegal aliens. And so you have a state right now being run by a bunch of people who do not want to comply with clear federal law and clear federal mandates, and somebody needs to confront them. The president is doing it.
The president is on the trans athlete, which we discussed right here last week. This is a high school athlete, and they're trying to punish the entire state over that one student.
Flood aid, yeah, let's hurt as many as we can. You ever notice nobody hates other Americans more than the Americans who keep boasting about how American they are? California gives our country $80 billion more than it takes back. Is this Donald Trump's way of saying he'd like to see California keep that money and not send it to red states where it can be good welfare cash for everybody else? This is not even legal. Congress owns the purse strings. He can't even do it. It's all a complete distraction. I swear, the only thing this administration hates more than the New Testament is the Constitution.
Let's say, though, let's say I agree with you, Scott, about your diagnosis of California's problems. And I mostly do. And I don't know anyone, including Californians, who think that that state is being run well. I don't. But this is an affront to states' rights. This is big government. This isn't conservatism. And we don't have to relitigate whether he's conservative. He's not. He doesn't care. That's fine. This is not the way government should work, punishing children, fire victims, flood victims, to make a political point. And so even if we agree with your issues with California, do you really think that this is the best way, this blunt object that is both personal and political, is the way to force California's hand on this?
I do think the confrontation is necessary, but I'll take one part of your argument that I think is worth discussing, and that's the idea of states' rights. So you're saying that in the name of states' rights, we should allow the California university system to set up Jew exclusion zones because they believe it's okay as a state?
No, I granted
Then is the
you
confrontation
those
not worth having on behalf of those students alone?
The confrontation is Donald Trump saying, adopt MAGA values or I'm going to punish you by taking federal dollars away.
It's not MAGA values to eradicate anti-Semitism. It's not MAGA values to protect girls.
You're picking
It's not
issues.
MAGA values to deport illegal aliens. It's just American law and American values.
And Donald Trump doesn't care about
anti-Semitism. I'm not disagreeing with your issues with California. I don't think this is the right way to do it. And I think 5 or 6 years ago, you wouldn't have either. Because you also believed in conservatism.
I don't know about
years ago, I couldn't have imagined
I don't know about 5 or 6
things
years
like
ago.
that.
I would say maybe like 1.5 years ago. But
Maybe.
But I mean, look, I think that SC raises a very important point.
What do you mean by that?
SC raises
1.5 years ago or 5 years, I would not have condoned a state or a university terrorizing Jewish kids. I absolutely would never have condoned that. And I don't condone it today.
The issues with anti-Semitism on college campuses are very serious and very important. But SC is asking a very, important and basic question. Is this the best way to rectify that problem? And is the punishment commiserate with the allegations of wrongdoing? And I think there are questions on both of those fronts. If Trump wants to actually fix the problem, why not come up with a plan to work with the system and with meaning the university system, and get them to fix it, as opposed to just saying, well, no more funding for you, California?
The great irony in all of this is that while Scott and I were having a discussion about the 5th and 14th Amendment in the last segment, we're now having a conversation about the 10th Amendment and states' rights and things that matter in the Constitution and eviscerating that. This is a very slippery slope, because when there is a Democratic House, or when there is a Democratic president or a Democratic a Senate, excuse me, and they take on the South, and they take on some of the policies and procedures. People talk about Baltimore and Chicago and New York. Do you know that the highest rates of murder and violence happen to be Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, states that are run by Republican legislatures? And when you see individuals who wield that power, who are in Washington, D.C., dropping that hammer, and when all of a sudden they do it against the Alabamas or the Mississippis or the South Carolinas or the Georgias, then Scott and Essie and everybody else, well, Essie's actually has common sense in this argument, are going to be upset. And that's my biggest problem with this. This is a slippery slope.
I do think that there is, in these times, and perhaps all the time, a failure to put yourself in the shoes of the other party here, right? Not just political party, the other side of any particular argument.
Sure.
So, you know, to Bakari's point, if a Democratic president decided to withhold all federal funds for the state of Texas because they banned abortion, would you be okay with that?
You're comparing abortion laws to Jew exclusion zones at UCLA?
I am saying that any particular issue, it doesn't matter what the issue is, that a president decides, your party, the Democratic Party, decides is important enough that they want to withhold federal funds from a state, would you be okay with it?
Yeah,
I think that's the fundamental
abortion
question.
laws are laws passed by legislatures. Anti-Semitism and radicalism on college campuses designed to terrorize Jewish kids are not laws. It's just radicals on campuses that are allowed to get away with it in blue states.
Hold on, that's a great point.
That's a totally different
They are not laws. They are actions of individuals who should be punished. But you are acting as if they are laws and trying to punish the entire state for it.
I'm acting as though the state and the university system run by the state has condoned it. They clearly have, and they've fostered it. They've fomented it.
Okay.
And that is wrong.
So,
I
guess, just to close the loop here, it doesn't seem like you think that this is something that can be weaponized against Republicans in the future?
I would not expect Republicans in a state to set up situations where we're clearly violating and terrorizing children on college campuses, people on college campuses. That is happening in blue states, that's happening in cities, and it's happening by progressive radicals on campus.
Do you recognize that that is not the only issue that the federal government might decide they want to get involved in? That anti-Semitism is terrible and it's wrong and it's important to address. But there are a whole host of other things. The Democratic president could easily say, on the issue of women's rights and abortion, we are going to penalize a red state if they try to abridge what a Democratic president believes are their rights.
I don't doubt that they could try to do that, and I'm sure much of this is going to wind up in court. The reason I appreciate the confrontation is because it brings these issues to light, and it gives everybody a chance to discuss what SE said. Is this state being run properly, and is it being run to the detriment of the people who live there? I would say the Jewish kids and the people who want the illegal aliens out, and all the people who are affected by these blue state policies might say, thank God for the president.
All right, coming up next, President Trump freed 5 Proud Boys from long prison sentences, but they say that's not enough. They're suing the government now. We're going to discuss that next.